I've been thinking a lot about why is it that I can accept what Lala is saying this season in the Valley about Danny's behavior, but I couldn't accept what Janet said about Danny's behavior in the last season because technically they're both talking about the same thing, but their approaches are totally different. And I think this is a really good example about why what you say and how you say things matters. So Lala addresses Danny's behavior in the moment that's happening, and she speaks to his behavior from her own perspective. In the latest episode that dropped, she said things like, "You mocked me. You were disrespectful to me." She says, "I didn't like what just happened." Everything that Danny did, she framed it as an emotional response that she had. She also does something interesting where she uses a lot of I statements. And I think by using I statements, that automatically softens and like diffuses the situation a little bit. I think it actually shows that she's not saying that Danny's a bad person. She's just talking about how his actions affected her. And then even when she's talking about the alcohol, she again uses a lot of I statements. She says, "I observed this. I think something happens to you when you have one too many drinks. I'm not saying you have a problem." Because Lala has her own history with alcohol and addiction, the underlying kind of vibe when she comes at the conversation is that there is compassion and there's empathy. I get this feeling that she's really trying to address the behavior versus trying to condemn Danny as a bad person. Janet, on the other hand, speaks totally different. It's almost like she's trying to state conclusions when she's speaking about Danny's behavior. He has a drinking problem. He's embarrassed by what he did. He's blaming me instead of taking accountability. That's a totally different kind of energy. And it's almost like she is already deciding that he is this type of person, which I think is part of the problem with her delivery. So, what I've learned from watching Lala and Janet move through this season of The Valley is that if you want people to be receptive to what you're saying and to be receptive to taking accountability, you have to meet them with some sort of level of compassion and empathy and your own self awareness instead of just accusing them and criticizing them.